Hey guys, I'm messing with the radio mic again, hoping it's going to do the job, as long as I can avoid touching the mic. Time to do the part 2 of the fixture plate. It's been on hold for a while. Partly, in fact, because I was waiting to get yet another tap. I eventually got my spiral flute tap, but somebody commented, I forget his name, something 88. Thanks to him, he mentioned useful advice, which was to use a spiral point for the through and through hole. I think that's a better bet. So I've actually got one, so I should be using that, and hopefully, although it's a low powered machine, on the low range I should be able to get enough torque, probably running at about, I don't know, 120, 140 RPM. So I'm just setting it up at the moment. I'll zoom in and give you a closer look, see where we're at, okay? Alright, this is what I've been doing for a setup. Bear in mind that my ink marks on here were only an initial plan for what I can do on it, but I shall follow those more or less. I've got one spot down here which I want to use as my 00 datum. I've got to set that up yet, but I've got it set up on parallels, a little bit of spare aluminum under the clamps, and I think you might just about see, I've got that now more or less trammed into, I think, I did check it just now. Yeah, I think it's better than half a thou. So I'm going to go with that, but I'm going to set up now and get that datum marked up. All I'm doing here, I've just about got it to 0. I'm taking a very basic approach. That's not overcritical in as much as it's just the starting point. So I've zeroed the DRO and I'm going to start drilling. Needless to say, this is going to be a long job, so I won't bore you with anything much. We'll just get the first hole through. I couldn't be bothered to do any spotting. This is pretty much a new drill, and I think with patience on each start we should be all right. I am using anchor lube, which I find for this, even though it's aluminum, it actually helps quite a bit. All right, first one of 44. Yeah, it's going to take a while to do that. So I'll persevere with that, and I think probably come back to you when we start some tapping, which will be a little way off yet. Oh, just an interim. Boy, this is tedious. This particular material, if I remember rightly, because my dad, my late father, he used to be in the aluminum business. One reason I've still got some bits and pieces that he used to get for me. But this is what we call half hard. I think it was NS3 grade if I remember rightly. It's got a softness about it, whereas if it was heat treated, it would be, as I remember, more machinable. And there's a tendency for the material to build up on the cutting face of a drill. And that's one reason that I'm tending to use a bit of anchor lube. Once the drill starts, and you get to a point where you can feel that the cutting edge is getting fouled, so I then come out, put the anchor lube in, and finally keep up a pretty fierce pressure. Once it gets going and you get the right feed rate, it's not too bad. I'm running at about 16 RPM. So I'm over halfway, but I've got a little ways to go yet. So it's tedious, but also makes one heck of a lot of mess. There's probably quite a bit of glare off this aluminum here, although it's covered in anchor lube. So got 2 to go. I'll just put these in to finalise the hole drilling. Plenty of squeaking on this stuff. Gets to a point where you can feel the drill cut is not as good, and that's when it's good to lube. Just advance to the last position here. 6.25. DRO gets a lot of reflection off the lighting, which is annoying. 6.25. Sorry about that. 6.25. There we go. Last one. Right, I'm paddling in a sea of aluminum chips here, all over the place. All right, what I'm going to do is do a bit of an interim cleanup, get rid of most of the chips. It'll be a big cleanup once I finish the whole job, and see if we can do some tapping. Underneath here is rough as hell because the drill on breakthrough leaves quite a burr, to put it mildly. So I guess we'll start from that and work back to the zero corner once I get the tap set up. I may have mentioned before I'm going to countersink all these, particularly the backside, which needs big tidying up. I can't be bothered to go around with the countersink in the chuck. I think I use the cordless drill, just give a touch on each. Anyway, I've done the first hole, tap that. I'll just do a couple more whilst we're videoing. And I've moved the camera because I've got to be able to put my arm up to stop this when I change to reverse. Just move across to the next station. 3.75, sorry. My bad eyesight. Try and set up on the DRO without taking too long. That should get it. Might as well go to forward again. All right, that's enough. You don't want to see all the others being done. It's a long job. I'll tell you what, I'm glad this plate isn't any bigger. I think it'll be enough to be useful at times, but it's a lot of time-consuming work. When I've finished the tapping, I might come back and add some 1/4 inch holes for pegs, which will still be tedious, but I think I might do it just for the hell of it. Getting close to the halfway mark. The longest part really is just indexing it in on the DRO each time, and one hole up here I screwed up. I can't remember what I read on the DRO. I thought it should have been, what would it have been, 1875. I don't know what the hell, oh no it wasn't, no, 2.5. 2.5, that should be easy enough to read, shouldn't it? Strive for perfection and then go and screw up. I forget what, it's probably out by about 10 thou, I suppose. I checked it before I put the tap down and sent it as best I could. Amazing, isn't it? Always something goes wrong. Let's move across for another. Which should be 3.75. All right, that feels okay. Better getting forward again. That's enough of that. I'll bring you back when I get to the last couple or so. 2 to go. I've just realised I screwed up on one other one. Amazing. That one was off. I think again about 10 thou. I don't know how the hell I'd misread the DRO, but oh well. Try to get it right and then screw up. Hopeless. Back to 0 for the last one. I think then before I take this out of the clamps, I'll put some other plain holes in. Let me get that 0. There we are. Let's finish this one. Right. Yeah, plain holes. I was checking, I've got some dowel pins. I've got 3/8 and 1/8. I'm debating whether to put 3/8 in or just do some 1/8 holes. I can always increase the size of 1/8 holes later in the drill press anyway, to be honest. This was the main pattern I'm concerned with, so I think I'll set up and try 1 or 2 1/8 holes and see how it goes. I've got a new 1/8, we'll see how well that does. You know what, I'm still ticked off at messing up 2 hole positions. How I did it twice, I don't know. I think it's called ineptitude or something like that. Anyway, we're all threaded up, but I thought whilst I'm in place, although it's going to take ages, I'm going to put a whole set of intermediate holes, just 1/8, and I've got quite a number of these very nice hardened pins. It's sorry, I'm just getting my hand in the way of everything. Let's try that one. There you go. That goes in nicely. It comes out with a bit more difficulty. Let's try this one again. Yep, that's good. So, sorry, hand in the way, I've got to get the bugger out. So I'm just going to repeat the, I'm going to repeat the pattern. So it's going to take a bit of time, but I think it's worth doing because, excuse me, at a later stage, if for some reason I wanted, I don't know, 1/4 20 hole or something or other, if I've got these 1/8 holes, there's a good chance I can use those on the drill press to make a quick change. Incidentally, I had this, I didn't realise I had this at the end of the table earlier on. Might have been throwing the exposure, sorry about that, didn't realise at the time. See how it works out. Anyway, I'm going to carry on drilling that, either finish it today or get it finished tomorrow, and then clean the whole thing up and call it done. Just pressing on with these 1/8 holes, I thought I'd show you one purely because, once again, the anchor loop proves its worth. The softer type aluminum and the small flute on the 1/8 drill, there's a tendency for the material to clog the flute. You can feel a change in the just the general feel when you're feeding. So I'll just run this one through. The drill will go all the way without putting any anchor lube on, but as I say, in kindness to the drill, which is a nice little stub. I don't want to spoil it. And the little extra time taken with the anchor loop does seem to help. Not that I've tried WD instead, but I like the anchor loop for this job. So I'm going to finish off all these other holes. Takes ages, but they might just be useful. Well, there it is after a quick wipe down. My initial Sharpie marks, I think I mentioned before, were very approximate. It was just a means of getting a layout that I could set up properly in the CAD. So we got all the 1/8 holes, nothing at each end of course, but I don't think that'll matter. And if I can find the pin again. So these are as drilled. I think the pin will be quite a tight fit. But on the odd occasion, I've no idea whether I shall even use the pins at all. But it strikes me that occasionally a line of pins, or say a series of 3 to take a right angle, might be handy, may never get used. So whether it was worth the time, I don't know. So I'm going to take this out, get all these chamfered, clean up the underneath, which I know is an absolute mess, and then take another look at it. So there we are, basically finished, and done a retrospective chamfer, countersink. Probably not quite as clean as if I'd done it in the coordinate series, but I couldn't be bothered to go around yet again, so I did it freehand in the mill here. And the only thing left now probably is, I think I've got a piece of plate glass somewhere, at least I used to have. So I'll probably put some fine lapping paste and do top and bottom, particularly bottom. It's actually sitting nice. I don't think there's much problem. Of course, it's very sensitive to the slightest chip that gets caught underneath. There's a chip under here too somewhere. Yeah, so we'll just get rid of any remaining burrs. So there it is, 2 holes that weren't quite right, but I think I'm fairly happy with that. It's not the sort of thing that'll get used a lot, like so many things. And these 1/4 inch holes, which I said before, are possibly totally unnecessary, but they'll take the hardened 1/8. They'll take the hardened 1/8 pins, and that might prove useful. It's just sometimes one of those things where you think, how the heck can I hold or mount something? And it just might help. So there we are, finished the darn thing at last. A little bit tedious, but quite pleased. And not sure what's coming next, which is not unusual. I must pay attention at some point to my power drive setups on the X and Z on the mill. That's pretty major actually. Quite a lot to be sorted out for that. Oh, and the cute sharpening. I keep putting that off because it's so fiddly. So I've got things to do. Maybe a while before I get down to the next item. Anyway, that's this one finished. So thanks for watching. See you soon, guys.